5 riders out front, trying to hang on clear of the bunch. Maximum advantage that they had, 5 3/4 minutes. And that has been steadily whittled down through the afternoon because they're absolutely charging along. They're well clear of the fastest schedule that they're expected to do. The wind conditions are in their favour. It's been dry weather. We travelled down this descent a little bit earlier on our way to the stage finish, and I can tell you it is very, very technical indeed. We pick up the riders in the breakaway, hanging on to a 1.5-minute advantage, and alongside me to run the rule over the riders once again is Brian Smith. And Brian, I know we are driving these roads a little bit earlier on. You were a little bit concerned about these roads for the riders.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of a crazy descent. Maybe much more in a car, coming down here in a car when cars are coming towards you. Luckily the riders in the breakaway and the peloton don't have it, but it's just twisting and turning for about 20 kilometres, and there was no respite. If you go into that descent, you're not moving at all, but as soon as they come off that descent and they come up to a T-junction, turn left, it's a good 25 kilometres in a main road all the way towards the finishing line.
The sanctuary of the Madonna di Sangue, the sumptuous architecture in this region. It's the super impressive church just beyond the village of Ray and heading towards Verdazio. Meanwhile, the bunch behind.
Well, one team knows this descent, and this is what we're just talking about, Declan. If you go to the front, there's absolutely no chance of moving. So UAE have come to the front and really pushing on. They're thinking of Sasha Modelo for today's sprint, and they're trying to catch a few riders out in the hop. We've already seen from the pictures of that church there about 10 riders already been distanced. You really don't want to be doing what Jack Bauer is doing at the moment and sitting last man in this descent.
Well, it's a difficult position, isn't it, for Jack Bauer, Team Quick-Step, because it's so difficult to move up, because the turns come with increasing rapidity and there just is no time to make any adjustment, and well, the surface underneath those wheels doesn't give much confidence for the riders, does it?
No, we are in the Italian region, and quite a bit of a difference between the Swiss roads and the Italian roads. But yeah, they're just skimming these barriers, bumping and barging away around here, and yeah, as soon as you go into a corner and you've got a bad road surface, it kind of throws you out a little bit, and there's no room for error on these descents.
No room for error at all. The motorcycle cameraman as well is kept on his toes, as it is the motorcycle rider, trying to make sure that they get the shots to us. Wonderful shots they are as well. Super important to stay ahead of the riders as well. But the UAE Team Emirates squad have lined up on the front of the peloton and have got themselves into position, understood what was required. Done a perfect job so far. Sasha Modelo, we produce the victory that's required. Racing back into Switzerland from Italy. Whoa. Just picked up by the front of the bunch, and that's one of those less than ideal situations.
Well, we've already talked about it in a way, and we're trying to explain things, how dangerous it was. So for a rider coming down here, it's not a problem, you can pick your line, but trying to get pictures of the front of the peloton on the bike, the team vehicles behind, there's absolutely no chance whatsoever of getting any feeding in this place at all. So even for the riders, they have to try and get gels, get something down their throats, purely because you don't want to go through in a 222 kilometre stage any part, maybe half an hour descending without eating anything.
So the group up front are well into Switzerland, and Barrett just has to make a little bit of an adjustment there, and across the border back into Switzerland from Italy and into the Italian region. So leaving Piedmont and into the Ticino canton of Italy, the Italian-speaking part of this extraordinary culturally diverse region. There's Ben King at the back of the group here. Just in front of him, Jesper Asselman of Team Rumpot. In front of him in the red of Lotto Sudal, it is of course Yellow Wallace. Lars Petter Nordhaug in those familiar blue colours of the Team Aqua Blue Sport. And Sam Bewley on the front, a New Zealander for Team Orica Scott. He's just setting a tempo and making sure that his fellow breakaway companions are comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's been starting to click for Team Astana and many other races now, but certainly not today, because they had one rider was a non-starter, and that's Jasper Hansen. And we've just heard just before we came on here that last year's winner, Miguel Angel Lopez, has been involved with a crash. We've not seen anything of him, if he's made it back to the peloton or not. And they had a man in the breakaway, Arman Kamishev, the national champion, but he was dropped in the previous climb. Coming over the top of that climb, Ben King was in first place, Nardag in second, and Wally's in third.
We're just hearing reports actually that Miguel Angel Lopez was taken to hospital, but we're waiting for full clarification on that. Won't commit to that at the moment, but if so, that's such a disappointing moment for Miguel Angel Lopez, who won in such fine style 12 months ago and has really struggled to get a consistent racing program together since then. He did have a good run up and through into the Vuelta, but then a couple of crashes removed him from action in the Tour of Spain last autumn, and then another crash during the winter has meant that he's only just come back to racing. So if he's been denied an opportunity to defend his title by further hitting the road once more, well, disappointing time for Miguel Angel Lopez, and we do wish him the best, but we'll wait for full confirmation of that to hear whether he is certainly confirmed as having been a retirement from this race. Miguel Angel Lopez hitting the deck. We also understand there was a rider from Team Aqua Blue Sport as well, but no confirmation of the number. So tough day out. We haven't seen too many crashes this week.
Yeah, just to touch on that, Declan, the Astana official team Twitter, they're just saying he's been moved to hospital for medical checking.
So confirmed, Miguel Angel Lopez is unfortunately out of Tour de Suisse 2017. Here's the breakaway group. Lars Petter Nordhaug first over the Simplon Pass. Team Aqua Blue Sport, 3 of the top 4 in the King of the Mountains classification. They're having a great week. What a fantastic day it was yesterday. What a wonderful piece of athletic endeavour from Larry Warbass, the 26-year-old from Dearborn in Michigan, who's felt that his career was over at the conclusion of last year when the EAM cycling team folded with no other offers, and then Aqua Blue Sport came in with an offer to rescue his career, and he has repaid them. And he was quite emotional, to say the least. He was emotional for his immediate scrum interview just after the stage, and then it continued to be quite emotional as he described what was a really groundbreaking victory for him in the post-event press conference afterwards. So you can tell what it meant to him, and it was heartwarming for that fact.
The thing is, what I took from it, because I don't know Larry Warbass that well, and from what I saw of him yesterday, he's certainly a talented bike rider. He's certainly passionate about cycling and what he does. He's meticulous in his preparation, and a very good pro bike rider. And to see the amount of support he had from fellow riders overnight is absolutely amazing, because everybody was saying it was well deserved. A lot of the riders that race with him in the rival teams have come to the fore and said what a great person he was, and to see him kind of break down yesterday. But what got me yesterday, the one thing that got me, was he was confident. Right in the morning, he said to his team that he was going to win, and for someone that's their first pro win, these days you don't get a lot. When you go out there and you think, right, I'm going to go in there, get in the breakaway, and I'm going to win, having not won before. And I just like that about certain riders. And we say congratulations yesterday. From what I see, he's a great team player, a great guy to be having a team, always positive, and that confidence just shines through. And I think maybe being a team player within BMC and IAM, he never got his opportunities, but certainly moving to team. And you got to remember, Declan, I've worked with teams, and I've worked with teams like MTN and Dimension Data, and given people opportunities, and re-erected some people's careers. So I know a bit of what it feels like. But sometimes you don't have to be too shy about looking at the second division to get some opportunities back.
Yeah, and a great moment for himself and the team. And Rick Delaney, his team boss, was actually there to see it as well. So that was a proud moment for him. So we're looking out over the impressive church above Raza, this tiny little village, tiny little hamlet of no more than about 20 people live in this part of the world, and it's connected by a funicular railway that connects it to the Verdazio village a little bit further down the valley. You'll see that a little bit later on.
because the railway actually crosses the road on several occasions, and they run down this valley.
Yeah, there's something like 10 crossings of railway tracks in the final 50 kilometres. To say the least, they're not particularly busy railway tracks. There's confirmation of the second climb of the day. Ben King taking it ahead of Lars Perde Nordhaug and Jelle Wallace. Nordhaug will finish the day 4th in the classification. Lasse Norman Hansen, his teammate, is safely and secure in that jersey for another day. We've got another summit finish tomorrow, a couple of climbs on offer. And the race up to La Punt is likely to be contested by the overall contenders, so we could have a change in the mountains classification tomorrow. It remains to be seen. And that is, well, what's the advice here? Don't look down, boys.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be looking anywhere apart from the road in front of them and the corners that are coming up in quick succession. You're not only into one corner and you have to change the line, go into another corner, and yeah, it's a treacherous descent, all right. And the peloton are zooming down it with UAE at the front, and I tell you what, the majority of this peloton will not be enjoying this. I know a few riders that will be enjoying it, including the world champion Peter Sagan, very good bike handler, but you can just see the amount of motorbikes all around the riders. They can't get past. This is where the danger lies. This is what we're talking about. You put the riders down here, the bikes, everybody's getting in the way, and it's just such a dangerous descent.
Yeah, Nordhaug finds himself in a slightly difficult situation. He's detached from his breakaway companions. Come back up through the bikes. I think he's a little bit annoyed that those motorcycles are there. It's a big effort that Nordhaug is having to make, and I wonder, is he going to find himself distanced by his breakaway companions? They're not going to be hanging around now. Just over 34 seconds the advantage.
You can imagine the gap coming down 34 seconds. They need to clear their vehicles out. Their vehicles, motorcycles and the vehicles behind cannot get past the breakaway in front. And you know, that's the dangers of bike racing when you take it down a descent like this for about 20 kilometres where you can't move.
So just under 30 kilometres remaining on stage 5. We're just over the halfway point in Tour de Suisse 2017. It's the UAE Team Emirates squad on the front of the bunch, charging down this final descent. There's a flat road for about 20 odd kilometres, and then it is into the finish at Chevio. At the end of a tough day. Sam Bewley has had a tough day, hasn't he? The rider from Team Orica Sports is up in the breakaway a little bit further ahead, and riders from the bunch further behind, struggling to stay with the bunch on what's a very, very technical descent.
No surprise at all, but yeah, it's starting to break up. Fortunately, we've come into better road surface here in the kind of Swiss part, or we're getting close to the Swiss part, and the road surface is somewhat better, but you just see the gaps. It's obviously a tactical ploy by the UAE team. I've come to the front, trying to distance people that have been caught in the hop a little bit, thinking of Modulo for a sprint finish here. They haven't had anything to shout about as yet. Rui Costa, 3 times winner of the Tour de Suisse in the past, hasn't really been firing too well. He got dropped in the climb yesterday, so they've had to think of ways and means of trying to win a stage at least.
Yeah, Rui Costa is still 8th overall. He's just 1 minute 10 seconds back, the 3-time victor of this race. Valerio Conti, of course, was with him, and they did a great job together, and he ended up he's sitting 9th overall, 1 minute 20 seconds back. So 2 riders well placed in the top 10 for the UAE Team Emirates, but perhaps a little bit concerned now, gunning for stage victory, courtesy perhaps of Sacha Modolo. That's the plan. Meanwhile, we pick up the 4 riders in the breakaway. So Lars Peder Nordhaug hasn't managed to get back on.
No, he might be sitting actually behind the TV bike, can't get past, but we'll have to kind of wait and see. But plenty of space as gaps all over the peloton in this very kind of treacherous descent. And I was just thinking, as the weather starts to come down, starts to get a little bit wet out in the course here. It's started to rain here at the finish, although it's been blown over a little bit. It's starting to get really, really dicey. And I said, as we cross these rail tracks again, I said in the car when we're driving down here, we're talking to some of the Swiss commentators, and I said, we are lucky it's not raining, and it is now.
Well, it is raining now. 26 kilometres left for the breakaway group. They've added a few seconds to their lead within the past few moments, but it's going to be tough with such a distance through to the line. And the riders in the bunch behind have been stretched thin. Plenty of little cracks developing indeed at the group, but towards the back, plenty of riders just finding this. Well, some people like the descents. Some people look forward to them after all those climbing, but well, perhaps today I think this has been a tricky one, rendered all the more tricky by this particularly difficult moment with the weather. The rain is coming in, albeit I would expect that it's only going to be a shower. It's certainly starting to blow up a little bit of a storm here at the finish line. The wind has really picked up in recent moments. Anislav Samulau of the CCC Sprandi Polkowice squad, and look at the way the riders are tiptoeing around the corners here. They absolutely, and there's no confidence about the grip levels you've got when there hasn't been a whole lot of rain recently, and those roads can be very, very greasy. And I think Samuel, discretion is the better part of valor for him in this situation. So safely down to the bottom of the hill, 35 seconds now the gap, and inside 25 kilometers to go. Still a very big group involved. The Simplon hasn't played a huge role today.
No, I didn't think it would. It was the 20th time that the Tour de Suisse have gone over the Simplon pass, and thought the breakaway would go away. But the reason why we're about 20 minutes up in schedule, Declan, was because the fast start. There was breakaways going away, coming back, going away, coming back. It took some time for the original six-man breakaway to actually disappear down the road, and they did get a considerable amount of time, about 6 minutes. But over the Simplon pass, it was the team of the sprinters trying to control things, just settle down and make sure their sprinters got over the one of the renowned climbs in the history of the Tour de Suisse. But it's this descent is causing the most damage.
Yeah, over the Simplon pass, safely down the descent of the next hill, the Drogno, and the UAE Team Emirates squad. Well, they're setting a very high tempo on the front of the bunch, and I think they'll be muchly relieved that they're at the front of the bunch, because well, they're as far removed from risk as it's possible to be when you're working your way through these treacherously slick roads, these winding, twisting village streets. Hanging on to this advantage. It's still dry, I can tell you, here at the finish line, but it is starting to blow, and the umbrellas at the corporate hospitality have been blowing down on the prawn sandwich brigade.
Very blowy. It's actually, I thought it was kind of raining a little bit, but it's dry here at the finish. Very blustery, not cold, but yeah, the one thing that I was a little bit worried about in this descent, and luckily it's happened pretty much 3/4 of the way down this descent, and these are professional riders. They're not going to take big risks. It's just a big kind of elastic band effect. If you're at the back, at the top of this descent, then you could be chasing and closing gaps when we come off it with about 20 kilometers to go.
Well, the visibility has been reduced considerably, and well, at least they'll be hoping it's out of sight, out of mind, but that gap is still coming down inside 30 seconds now, with just over 22 kilometers remaining for their 4 breakaway riders. Kamashev has been dropped, and I don't believe, well, actually, maybe I'm picking up Lars Petter Nordag. Is he still behind the motorbikes, or has he managed to make it in there now?
He's made it back.
He's got back in, so we do have 5 back up front. Lars Petter Nordag has made it up to Jesper Asselman, Ben King, Sam Bewley, and Jelle Wallace.
We're just coming up to the first sprint of the day, to the 2 sprints coming very late on, one with 22 kilometers to go, 500 meters now, and the next one comes with just under 13 kilometers to go. But I don't think these riders will be too worried about the situation, as the best placed rider is in fact at 22 minutes and 3 seconds, and that's Wallace of Lotto Soudal.
Yeah, none of these riders have been involved in the breakaways so far this week, so riders hopping across those ever so frequent railway tracks. Nordhout happy with his mountains points, not going to contest this one. Asselman fancies it though for Team Rompot. Jelle Wallace is just going to roll across the line behind him. That confirms the first 2 at Ponte Brola. Asselman, well, he's not looking around to see is anyone coming with him. Does he fancy a little bit of an ambush attack? Wants to be last man standing. Will be made aware of the fact that these riders are now just 22 seconds ahead of the bunch. Can't be too long now before the bunch make their way back up. Bunch led by Team UAE Emirates. Another one of these tough little left-handers.
Just look here on the right-hand side, Declan, sorry about that, but they routed the team buses all the way around via Bern today, and they were all stacked up at that corner there. So there's a lot of these riders. I think Orica Scott was the team bus right at the start. So Sam Bewley's probably seen his bus thinking, well, I'm going to be wet. Yeah, I'm going to be wet, and I'm going to have to wait for my team bus at the finish. So they've routed them all the way around, and unfortunately they never made it in time. And
they're so far ahead of schedule.
Yeah, exactly, and they never had enough time to get the team buses in. So there'll be a lot of teams, guys going to the cars afterwards and not having the warm shower. Although they're getting a fairly warm shower at the moment, but it's this main road all the way into the finish. So there's no real dangers in any descents or any real dangers in the way in. But with only 19 seconds, it does look as if we are going to see a sprint finish.
Well, Ace just hands over to Asselman. Well, Ace on fine form as well, second year of the team, 28-year-old. Winner of Paris Tour back in 2014. Winner of Dwarstor Vlaanderen. As Peter Nordhaug is well known as well to many of us, of course, from his 2 stints with Team Sky. Now with Team Aqua Blue. Ex-Team Belkin rider as well, the Norwegian rider. Asselman has taken those points. 27 years of age. His 3rd year at pro-continental level with Team Rompot. And time to get the gels in. I think they're realising it's almost the game is up for them. Jesper Asselman, Jelle Wallace and Ben King are top 3 at the first sprint of the day. I think at the way things are going, they'll do well to make the second and final sprint, which comes with 12.7 kilometres remaining.
Well, unfortunately, they only have 16 seconds because the wet is still dry at the finish here, 20 kilometres away, but the winds on the run-in for the last 20 kilometres was actually favouring the riders. So if they had a healthier advantage, they could have stood a chance of staying away, but they don't have that big advantage, and yeah, the weather is coming in, especially the rain, but the wind is actually behind the riders, but the rain is starting to come up the valley here.
Inside 20 kilometres to go on stage 5 of Tour de Suisse 2017. We've got a group of 5 up front from the initial 6-rider breakaway. Their advantage had stretched out as much as 5 3/4 minutes. Now it's down to a mere 16 seconds for Jelle Wallace and company, as they, I think at this point, are resigned to their fate. There's a big bunch coming up from behind, and the weather conditions have turned, well, a little bit sour in the last, just what, 5 or 10 kilometres? It's torrential rain. Is one of these thunderstorms that's peppered the region in recent times. The weather's been pretty good in Switzerland over the last few weeks, and indeed they were saying at breakfast this morning that, well, we needed this rain. It's actually good for the agriculture, it's good for the environment.
Well, at least it's kind of cooled them down a little bit, because the first few days have been fairly hot here, and in fact in Ham the locals were saying this is probably as hot as it gets for them, so they enjoyed it, but it's cooling them down. It's just the rain in the eyes and the glasses and things like that, it gets a little bit difficult to see.
So the last knockings of the breakaway group as Asselman pushes on. Ben King with him. And Asselman clearly wants to, the pride of being the last man standing in the breakaway group from the bunch. As Peter Nordhaug understands the futility of the effort. Jelle Wallace as well is resigned to his fate. Sam Bewley has headed back as well to the bunch. The bunch is starting to have a little bit of a regroup. Indeed, it's not quite as big as it was.
No, it's not, and you got to remember, if all these riders are brought back, then we do have this sprint just under 13 kilometres to go. We do have points for the points competition, so a question for Michael Matthews: is he going to try and take some points there and think of the finish? I think not. I think he'll just concentrate on the finish. But then again, there's 3, 2 and 1 seconds up as well, so will Caruso decides that, especially with a time trial late in this race, every second is going to count. But yet again, it's the team of Trek Segafredo. They have been riding already at the front today, looking after John Degenkolb. He desperately wants to win a stage here. He's tried and tried, but as he said from his own words, maybe the team were a little bit early in the Bern. They got a little bit enthusiastic, but they're trying to control things now.
Yeah, riders are a little bit bunched up. Willoughby Group's coming back up after that sketchy descent and the treacherous roads that they had to negotiate in recent times. Now they've got more of a straight run. It's not too complicated, the run to the finish. Dave van Avermaet doesn't look too enthusiastic about heading up to the front anytime soon. We did see Damiano Caruso, having mentioned him, the overall race leader, was well to the fore on that descent. He was kept well out of trouble and well towards the front. And Caruso is in good position should it be in their gift to present him with the potential to take a few more seconds. I'm not sure it's something he'll go looking for. Quick reminder, Caruso leads by 15 seconds overall from Steven Kruijswijk. Domenico Pozzovivo sits third overall, 24 seconds back. And of course there are points towards the points competition. The way that they weight the points in this the weighting of the points in this competition, in this particular stage race, is more towards the intermediate sprints. So as Brian was saying, it could well be of interest to the likes of Michael Matthews, who leads the points competition. I think you could well be right. He'd be more interested, I think, in stage success and wouldn't want to burn a match there.
Yeah, it's if it comes easy for him and he can take some points, then he'll think about it. It's, he is in the black jersey today, so he may have a look. Still get these two riders, Asselman and Ben King, sitting just in front at 16 seconds. So in about just over 4 kilometres time, that last sprint. But I think they'll be saving their energy for the final sprint, because there's another stage win up for grabs.
Asselman pushes on, the 27-year-old Dutchman, in the company of Ben King, stage winner in the Tour of California last year, stage winning Criterium International. Just getting a little bit of a G up there, and a little look around. They're hanging on to this 16-second lead. I think there's a little bit of a regrouping, and there's a little bit of looking around, trying to see and trying to get organised and make a little bit of a plan for the remaining 17 kilometres among the riders in the bunch.
Yeah, it's a bit of a regrouping process and settling down process, because probably the last half hour, 45 minutes, has been fairly nervous, especially coming down that descent. So they're just getting in order, thinking about the finish, seeing who has actually made it into the group. We know that there are some numbers of red and black jerseys of Trek Segafredo towards the front. The world champion is there, Peres Sagan, but has he got many teammates with him? I can't see too many of the Bora Hansgrohe team, maybe two to the left-hand side there. But Michael Matthews definitely there, and he's got some numbers round about him, the rider and to the left of the World Champs jersey and the black jersey. Just trying to see if I think Matteo Trentin is there as well, another sprinter. So it'll be interesting to see if we can try and pick out some more sprinters, and maybe some of the sprinters that haven't made it to these. But it's an opportunity. Definitely with the depleted peloton, there's an opportunity here for maybe an opportunist attack towards the end, but I don't think that will happen, because Trek Segafredo seem to want to bring it down to a sprint. So it does look as if we're going to see another sprint from the likes of the top three at Bern, plus maybe Modelo, we've already mentioned, involved with the mix.
Yeah, Philippe Gilbert is in there as well, just to the back of the peloton at the moment, just taking on a little bit of food for the final push. Lars Bohm is trying his luck off the front of the bunch. An interesting tactic from Team Lotto NL Jumbo.
Well, that's what I was just kind of speculating on. There's an opportunist to move here, and I thought it would happen maybe a little bit later on. But Trek Segafredo do have numbers, but we're still 15 kilometres to go, so they have to be very wary. I think it would take maybe 2 or 3 strong riders to try and stay away. But with these two riders in front, Lars Boom coming across to them, he will be the fresher of the 3 if he does in fact get across. But we'll see what happens. You've got to remember he was in a breakaway yesterday and should have some tired legs.
So the bunch not quite big enough to get itself properly organised, you might say, after that sustained effort from Team UAE. They decided to take a little bit of a breather, secure in the knowledge that they were well within the closing distance of the breakaway group. Meanwhile, riders coming through and back up, finding it a little bit easier. And back in the cars at the moment, just for a little while.
Well, there's no cars. That's the thing, Declan. There's no cars behind. They're all going to neutral service, asking for things, because there must be a group just behind, which is within 1 minute, which is stopping the team cars coming up behind the main peloton.
Yeah, so rarely they go to neutral service these days, but Philippe Gilbert was happy and grateful for any assistance he could get. Dignan at the back for Team Sky.
Have to contend with just a bottle of water there and not anything from his team car. This is, you know, bike racing, everybody knows, and you can't really take any refreshments, not unless they've put it out in race radio. I haven't heard it yet, but sometimes in long stages like this they will allow feeding inside the last 20 kilometres, probably with 10 kilometres to go.
Plus, as you mentioned, the descent was so long, tricky, technical, difficult,
Juice, yeah.
It's just impossible to get any sort of service. Yeah. So 2 up front at the moment, chased by a single interloper. In between these two, Esselman still pushing on, Ben King still willing, and behind them Lars Bohm trying to get across that gap, and he's failed on this occasion. Worth a try for the former world cyclocross champion. Been called to account. Trek Segafredo setting the tempo now. They've picked it up on the front of the peloton, looking after the interests of John Degenkolb, who's safely in the group.
The problem about this now is one of the riders, I think it was Pantano, might have been riding on the front now, but they've only got 3 riders in front of John Degenkolb, so John Degenkolb will have to kind of find his way over the in the sprints, but they did have one rider that just peeled off from the front and has done his job, but all the other teams are sitting back. Yet we did mention when we come onto this main road, the wind is actually favouring the riders, so these 2 riders, Asselman and Ben King, have got just under 30 seconds advantage. We are coming up to the next sprint, so unless other teams get organised, they do have a very, very slim chance.
Slim but worth fighting for, and they're going to take the top points on offer at the second sprint of the day. We race through the second sprint. It is Asselman that takes it, and Asselman is certainly the more enthusiastic of the two. He's got the more energy.
Yes, they're working well together, and the peloton aren't too far behind. I was just a little bit worried about a cone standing out in the road on the right-hand side, but yeah, bunching up in the peloton. A lot of riders kind of looking at each other, just trying to see if that was Van Poppel for Team Sky at the back of the peloton as well. Another good sprinter.
So through the bunch come as we pick up Peter Sagan, visible on the right-hand side. He's got some Bora Hansgrohe teammates round about him, and he'll be grateful for the assistance. Marcus Burkhardt and Patrick Conrad ever present at his side. Orica Scott squad as well, trying to get themselves organised for Michael Albacini. Albacini safely in there, and this is maybe not the ideal sprint finish for him, but he always does bring his A game to Switzerland.
Well, this is if Matt Heyman, the former Paris-Roubaix winner, is looking after him, and we'll be talking to him, and maybe it could be a late effort from Albacini. He's done it before in some other events where he's made an effort at the right time, but if this tempo keeps up now with Trek Segafredo and UAE, thinking of John Degenkolb and Sasha Modolo, then it's going to be very difficult to go away, but they have to bring these 2 riders back first. 1 second just picked up by Caruso there.
Ah, yes. So that's confirmation. The third across the line, Damiano Caruso, presented with that opportunity. It was a gift worth taking. And every second counts. And we've hardly had time to even discuss his general classification chances going forward through the week, but he's looked very strong so far. This is confirmation of the second sprint. Asselman and King mopping up the main points, but they have very different interests at the moment. Can they possibly hang on to this 30-second advantage?
The thing is, this road stays pretty much the same. There's no elevations all the way to the finishing line. Just over 10 kilometres, 30 seconds. They're trying to get behind this photographer's bike. The wind is helping them slightly from behind. So although it's been a 222 kilometre stage, they seem to have some effort left in the legs to try and kind of hang in. It's more will than anything else, and the 2 of them are combining well together and pushing this advantage up slightly more.
So the bunch considerably slimmed down as a result of the climbs of Simplon Pass and the second climb as well of Verdruño, and those very complicated roads following that final hill. Lars Bohm at the back here has tried his luck, hasn't worked out on this occasion. Just a bit of a chat with Hugh Carthy, who's safely in. won't be interested in what's happening in the next 10 kilometres. Coming down to the final 10 kilometres of Tour de Suisse Stage 5. Tom Dumoulin there for the Team Sunweb squad. A little nod as if to say, I think he was nodding the motorbike to move on ahead of it a little bit. Now he takes it up on the front. So working with the Bora Hansgrohe squad to try and get things organised for Michael Matthews a little later on. 10k to go. Racing towards Cevio near Locarno. Locarno, of course, on the shores of Lake Maggiore. And that is the somewhat slimmed down bunch. 168 riders started today. We've lost a couple along the way. The arduous nature of what's one of the tougher stage races on the world calendar is starting to take its toll. Bora Hansgrohe got riders in a position. Peter Sagan peeking out from behind his teammates. Will be satisfied with the work that's being done. Is it too early?
No, they have to do it. They have to take it on. Trek Segafredo were there with UAE. They've kind of disappeared a little bit. Pantano's still there, but yeah, somebody had to take it on. He's got Burkhardt left behind, but back up front, Ben King looking strong. Asselman looking equally as strong, and the two of them combining really well together. So they do have a very slim chance, but I think it's going to be very difficult because it does look as if Bora Hansgrohe with Peter Sagan, he really wants to win a stage and make it 14.
Well, there's no lack of effort, is there? There's no lack of what's being put into the pedals at the moment by Ben King as he pushes on the 28-year-old. And Asselman as well. What energy have they got left? Their gap, having extended out almost to 40 seconds, now slips inside 30 seconds again. It's yo-yoed a little bit in the last while, but now we've got the teams on the front of the peloton. They're determined to make sure that this one doesn't go the way of the breakaway riders for a second successive day, but it's still, they've got some work to do. 8.8 kilometers remaining, just over 5 miles of racing. That's not a big bunch, so finding the willing helpers is not always that easy in a bunch that size.
No, not at all, especially if some of the team have already managed to get back on after that tricky descent and then having to go to the front again. There's a few tired legs here, and but I still think they've got the firepower in this bunch. There was Trek Segafredo, UAE have kind of disappeared a little bit, sitting back there, but Bora Hansgrohe have come to the front and really wanting to put the world champion Peter Sagan in with a chance of this stage today.
Yeah, great to see Tom Dumoulin doing this work as well. Not able to stay with the leaders on the hill yesterday. Was that a surprise, or I don't think it'd be a huge disappointment to him?
I think it maybe was a slight surprise, but then again it wasn't, because I know what his media commitments were afterwards, and you know, when you come out to Grand Tour, he already showed in the time trial he's got some power. Maybe not have the zip or the freshness left in his legs, and you know, most riders would, you know, take a bit of a break. He hasn't. He rode the Hammer Series. He's come here, and you know, as we've said in the Giro d'Italia, we've seen a superstar being born, and he's honouring his teammate by riding on the front, Michael Matthews, and Michael Matthews from that sprint into Bern, he's certainly stronger than Sagan and Degenkolb, but this is a totally different sprint. The wind is actually helping him. This will be a faster sprint, and I think it's going to suit Peter Sagan the best.
Well, Sagan is safely in position behind his Bora Hansgrohe squad, and they've got plenty of riders in here that are putting the maximum effort in. They've got lots of riders in the front. Now we start to see Quick Step assembling towards the front as well in those blue jerseys with the white sleeves. As we mentioned, Matteo Trentin is safely in there. Managed to get up for a top 5 finish a couple of days ago. Finished 5th on the first road stage at Ham. And now down to 13 seconds. King dares to believe. Could it be a US success 2 days in a row? Don't rule it out, but don't expect it. 7.2 kilometers remaining, down to 13 seconds. Surely they'll be caught. Well, they won't make those assumptions. They'll keep piling on as hard and as fast as they possibly can. Asselman on the front. A picture of contorted pain, isn't he? And has been since that attack for the intermediate sprint. Well, about 15 kilometers ago now. There's the bunch in the same shot. and they know exactly what they've got to do. They're in control of the situation in terms of catching the breakaway. But how do they get control of the other sprinters, get their team into place? Damiano Caruso in the yellow jersey staying out of trouble as best he can in the middle of the bunch, well to the fore. Bora Hansgrohe move over to the right-hand side as well. Got that one interloper, Tom Dumoulin, in amongst them, willing to help on behalf of Michael Matthews. Trek Segafredo have gone back in their box a little bit.
Yeah, they have. They maybe learned from the other stages, looked a little bit eager and leaving it up to Bora Hansgrohe. I must say, I was just about to say, the Bora Hansgrohe have come up and really brought them these riders back very quickly, because we saw them easing the pace the other day there in the stage 2, and they were a counter-attack. So Bora Hansgrohe, as soon as they make this junction with the two riders, they have to keep riding, they have to keep the tempo high, otherwise they're going to get attacks.
Well, that's it. It's just about done for the two riders up front. The final two survivors from the 6-man breakaway that finally clipped off the front after a frenetic opening period of racing at the outset of what's been a fascinating 5th stage of Tour de Suisse. We've raced across the Simplon Pass, we've raced across Ndrogno, we've raced through Italy, back into Switzerland, and we're in the Italian region of Cevio, the canton of Ticino. And we have got just 5.5 kilometers remaining. Bora Hansgrohe in control on the right-hand side of picture as Trek Segafredo come back into position on the left with the white helmets, the red jerseys, while the teams can get organised. Team BMC in the centre of shot, representing the interests, of course, of Damiano Caruso, the overall race leader.
Yeah, that's the difference there, Declan, allowing Bora Hansgrohe to do a little bit more work in the front. Trek Segafredo did initially take it up when we come onto this main road, but they've sat back, they've come up again with 5 kilometres to go. They're head and head with Bora Hansgrohe, but UAE have been pretty patient. They rode down the descent hard. They've split the group. They've sat back in this main road, and they will have numbers. They're kind of grouped too far towards the back, but I'm pretty sure they'll get organised to try and help Sasha Modolo.
The rest of the Trek Segafredo squad on the back of the bunch, taking a little bit of a breather. Is his work done for the day, and can he summon the energy to go back up to the front again? Orica Scott on the left-hand side of picture. Got Michael Albacini in good form. I wonder has Magnus Cort Nielsen managed to make it in? Not 100% sure, but they have got assembled. I know Albacini certainly is there. So the bunch splits and divides, and one flew east, one flew west. It's the Trek Segafredo squad, the right-hand side of the road, the left-hand side of picture. They're bossing it, and it's 2 separate lead-out channels, and you've got to decide which one you like best. Bora Hansgrohe on the right-hand side of picture, inside 5 kilometers to go on stage 5 of Tour de Suisse. We're racing down towards Cevio. Looks like we're going to have a bunch sprint. Who's going to get it? Will there be any opportunities for a late attack? Well, it's pretty much a long, straight road, not a terribly complicated finish. So in technical terms, that work has been done. Yeah,
not too technical in the run-in, not like we've seen in the other stages. And BMC just trying to look after the yellow jersey more than maybe Greg van Avermaet if he was looking at the sprint on the right-hand side. John Degenkolb loses one of his riders, but he still has 2 with 3.7 to go. Still a lot to ask, but Boy Van Poppel sitting on the Danny Van Poppel, sorry, sitting on the wheel of John Degenkolb there for Team Sky.
Yeah, interesting. He hasn't got any Team Sky teammates around him, but he's picked up one of the best wheels you could possibly have in world sprinting. And Danny Van Poppel is no mean sprint fast man himself. So left-hand side of picture, you've got John Degenkolb in fine position. Danny Van Poppel is there. Right-hand side of picture, well, Peter Sagan, he's got the Bora Hansgrohe squad, those familiar world champion stripes well to the fore. So too is Michael Matthews in the centre, the white jersey, the black stripes. Team Sunweb want and believe that they can produce and present him into position for a 2nd stage victory of the week. Peter Sagan has taken 13 stage victories in his career in the Tour de Suisse. Can he make it a 14th? Yet to get a victory representing Bora Hansgrohe. John Degenkolb wants that Tour de Suisse stage success as well. We're starting to see other teams getting involved and moving into position. Aaron Gate is fancies his chances, I do believe, for the Team Aqua Blue squad, well to the fore.
Just look at the left-hand side now. Brambilla brings the blue train up with Philip Gilbert in position, but Sagan's fans are here. Can he deliver?
Well, Sagan's fans will travel the world to see their hero, and he so often delivers. It's been a great job so far, but now Quick-Step have decided to take it up inside the final 2.5 kilometres. They're pushing hard towards Chevio as the Team Quick-Step squad know what they need to do. They've got Matteo Trentin in fine form. They've got Philippe Gilbert already with a stage win this week. Who's the favourite rider?
Yeah, they're pushing hard now with Trek Segafredo, but Gilbert sitting in third place. This will be for Matteo Trentin, because he's got Stibar right in front of him.
He's got some very fast men to look after him, and he is a pretty fast rider in his own right. But can Matteo Trentin hold off the likes of John Degenkolb, Michael Matthews and Peter Sagan? Well, they've come to the front with fully 2,000 metres remaining. It's going to be a long, long lead out for the Team Quick-Step squad, but they've got numbers in there. They've got riders of the likes of Steve Barr and Philippe Gilbert ready to do their job for Matteo Trentin, as the Bora Hansgrohe squad have settled into second position of the teams.
With his full speed at the front of the peloton, just come over this bridge, but Owen Doole, the Welshman riding for Team Sky, is right up there behind the team of Quick-Step.
Final left-hander comes. 1,400 metres remaining on stage 5 of Tour de Suisse. We're racing down towards Chevio. Team Quick-Step Floors have the front of the bunch, but will they have it in 1,200 metres from now as the other teams try to get in position? Team BMC have riders to the fore as well. The Orica team as well, and look at Team Sunweb coming up on the right hand side of picture. Caruso wants to stay in position as well, the yellow jersey. The bunch stretched thin as we reach the kite.
Yeah, Philip Gilbert taking up stage winner in stage 2. He's got Stibar and Trenton just behind. Also you get Sunweb right up there, the world champion is in there. A lot of people battling for positions now. Yeah, Team UAE have managed to get a couple of riders up there, including, we presume, Sasha Modolo is well to the fore. It's Philippe Gilbert, already a stage winner this week, former world road race champion and one of the stars of the classic season, puts his shoulder to the wheel, puts the watts out, and is going to try and prevent the likes of inside the final 500 metres. We've got Trek Segafredo into position. Here comes Sunweb on the left-hand side with a late attack. Peter Sagan spots the danger. It's a late run for the line. Can Sagan get on terms as they get through into the final couple of 100 metres? And no one surely is going to stop Peter Sagan. 200 metres remaining. He's got metres, light years. It's Peter Sagan running to the line inside at 50 metres to go. It's going to be a 14th-stage success. It is the world champion, Peter Sagan, taking stage 5 of Tour de Suisse. Arms in the air, all too easy, perfectly timed, perfectly presented, and it's a first victory for him as a Bora Hansgrohe rider. And what about that? Looked easy
Peter
in the
Sagan,
end.
yep.
Looked very easy in the end. Nice to see Albacini popping up there in the third place, but everybody was just sitting and waiting, and you know, by the looks of things, we come into the finishing straight, it was all over. But Nikias Arndt was the rider that went. Everybody was sitting, watching, waiting for the sprint to happen, and Peter Sagan said, well, I'm not waiting. It was a tailwind sprint, take it from the front. And he won his 14th stage in the history of the Tour de Suisse.
And a pretty elaborate celebration to go with it. Peter Sagan is your stage winner, ahead of Michael Albacini. Matteo Trentin getting up for third for Quick-Step Floors. Albacini sprinting well, but not in the same league as Peter Sagan. As you say, Brian, Nikias Arndt from the Team Sunweb squad trying to ambush the teams and surprise them, but Sagan was alive to the danger.
Well, you can just look at a lot of Albacini's just flat out sitting in the saddle. Everybody's sitting in the saddle sprinting. That just goes to show you that, you know, the power of the wind. Everybody was setting up behind Philip Gilbert, and then Stibar went, and John Degenkolb and Michael Matthews were just sitting, waiting. And I'm afraid this man here never wanted to wait. He popped out. I forget who it was that swung over. It might have been Gilbert or Stibar, but he swung over to the left-hand side, tried to follow Nikias Arndt, and just kept the power down. And that was one of the easier wins that Peter Sagan will have.
Yeah, he had time to work out the celebration. What a great job by the Bora Hansgrohe squad as they celebrate in unison. And just look what that means to them. They got numbers into that group, and they got numbers with strength as well. They had the legs to commit, to contribute. Sagan is once again a winner at one of his favourite stage races. I think this and Tour of California are the races where he really comes alive. And he looks like the form's coming well for another race he quite likes, the Tour de France.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be there, trying to win as many stages as possible and not finishing second. Just congratulating his teammates. But yeah, it was an intelligent move. He saw the other riders kind of waiting, and he wasn't prepared to wait. And yeah, with that kind of roaring tailwind sprints, he just took it from the front, and nobody could do anything else. I tell you what, at one stage, Matteo Trentin done a great bit of bike handling. I think he's just explaining things now, but he's done a great bit of bike handling there to stay upright in that sprint. So hopefully we'll see it from the helicopter shot.
Well, there you have confirmation of the Stage 5 results into Chevio, leading them home. Peter Sagan ahead of Michael Albacini, Matteo Trentin, Paddy Bevan getting up for another great result for the New Zealander. Cannondale drop back, Niccolo Bonifacio, Michael Matthews, not quite enough breakfast today, Sasha Modolo, Oscar Gatto, Aaron Gate getting up for a fine top 10, and a Wayne Doole in the top 10 as well for Team Sky. So Peter Sagan, the 27-year-old, already now with 14 stage successes in his career in Tour de Suisse, to go with the 7 stage victories he's taken in Tour de France, and just the 2 World Championships. It is a stellar career. Hard to believe he's only 27. Seems like he's been around forever. The scene over the beautiful hamlet of Chevio.
Here we see it there in the Trek leader. Gilbert went over. Stibar is propped in the front there at the moment, and Nikias Arts decides to go. Watch Sagan here. He decides, bang, he moves over and decides to go now. He didn't want to wait, and Stibar leading. They're all waiting. See that manoeuvre? Oh, by Trenton there as Albacini came round. But at this stage, 250 metres to go, Sagan decides. Everybody's waiting for it to see the finish, that 200 metre to go, but he wasn't hanging about. He went early, he had the strength to hang on, and a tailwind sprint is probably the best tactic to go with.
Yeah, get going early. It worked out perfectly for Peter Sagan, and a nice bit of a heart-stopping moment for Matteo Trentin, but stayed upright. Managed to hang on for a 3rd place finish. It's another top 5 for Trentin. Yet to get that stage victory that would mean so much to him. All house for a squad. Having a good week, and that's confirmed now, the stage victory that they came for. Another opportunity later in the week. Summit finish tomorrow. Summit finish again on Friday. It's a time trial to conclude affairs on Sunday. The circuit race is the penultimate stage on Saturday, which could well be an opportunity for the sprinters. Well, there's confirmation of the overall general classification, a slight extension of his advantage over Stefan Krosvik for Damiano Caruso. They're showing 16-second advantage now. Domenico Pozzovivo sitting 3rd, Simon Spilak in 4th position. They've lost a second to Caruso. Soler, Frank, Michael Nieve, Rui Costa, Valerio Conti, and Teo Gegenhardt, the top 10. It's very much the provisional overall. No drastic change in that situation. Of course, from the departure of Miguel Angel Lopez from the top 10. Well, what a day it's been for Peter Sagan. We can catch up with the world champion now. 14 stage
Tour de Suisse stage in front of your fans. It still seems to be your tour.
Still. Yeah, well, I'm very happy for this victory because, yeah, our team, the Borans Groe, sacrificed today everything, and yeah, we went in the stage like all in. And in the end, yeah, I'm very happy for this victory. Thank you all my teammates, and it's very good for us.
You had to wait a little bit to win again. Was it difficult to stay patient?
Well, no, the first stage was a little bit mess in the end, a lot of attacks and a race without control, a little bit. And yeah, then 2 days ago was good finish, but I did a big effort before, yeah, the final, the climb, and then maybe I miss it for a little bit. But today was really good for me. I was really concentrated, and it was a good day. Yeah, small shower in the end, and I found my bed. I felt much better.
Thank you very much.
He is, for the fourth time in his career, 14th indeed time in his career, Peter Sagan mounts the top step of the podium to accept the victory plaudits at the end of the stage of Tour de Suisse. Went for the big one, 400 metres out. Saw the danger that was Nikias Arndt. Big German powerhouse, not quite able to sustain his effort, but Peter Sagan certainly could. He had bike lengths to spare over Michael Albacini and Matteo Trentin by the time he crossed the line. So it's Salad Bowl time once more for Peter Sagan, your stage winner on stage 5. That's a bouquet worth having, isn't it? And there are plenty of Peter Sagan fans about. His fan club much in evidence. Never far away, really, are they, when he's racing? It's a bit of bubbly to be avoided until Sunday, but he's earned it. Serenading us across the line. Around about 70 kilometers an hour. There's confirmation of stage 5. Peter Sagan getting the win ahead of Michael Albacini, Matteo Trentin, Paddy Bevan up for another top 5 finish. Bonifacio, Matthews, Modolo, Gatto, Gate, and Oindul. They're thereabouts in the top 10. And he's extended his advantage by a single second. Damiano Caruso safely through what could have been a bit of a banana skin of a stage, but continues to lead the Tour de Suisse overall. Hold that yellow jersey for another day. 29-year-old Italian. Damiano Caruso, still the leader, 8th on general classification in the Giro d'Italia a couple of years ago. He was in 3rd on GC in the Tour of Austria, 2nd on GC in the Tour of Britain back in 2012. To bag the big stage race success. And you know, that's what he's looking for this week. But he can relax and accept the plaudits after another successful day of action. There's confirmation, a single second gained at the second intermediate sprint means he extended his advantage by just that single second, now 16 seconds ahead of Stefan Kruijswijk, Domenico Pozzovivo, Simon Spilak, Marc Soler, and Matthias Frank still well to the fore. Within 34 seconds of the race lead. We've got big mountains to come tomorrow that will test BMC and Caruso, and indeed all of the pretenders to the throne. Well, Peter Sagan makes another appearance because that wonderful stage success and his great consistency means that now he's into the lead of the points competition. He takes that jersey from the shoulders of Michael Matthews. Matthews 5th on the day, 6th indeed. And slipping out of the lead of the black jersey competition. And there you have it. It's a 3-point lead for Peter Sagan ahead of Damiano Caruso. Took those intermediate sprints second. That was what he was after, but he managed to score a few points at the same time. Michael Matthews slips to 3rd. Albacini scoring well. He's level on points with Matthews and still very much in the hunt for honours in the points competition. And no surprise about the leader of the Swiss rider competition because Matthias Frank continues to be very well placed overall. Sitting in 6th position overall and comfortably the best placed Swiss rider on general classification. The diminutive climber from AG Tour Le Mondial enjoys his appearances on the podium in Switzerland and manages a big beaming smile. It's a big smile anyway. He's a happy man and looking forward to tomorrow's arduous ascent to La Punt. There you have it, 1 minute and 48 seconds his lead over Steve Morabito. Michael Scher just under 10 minutes back. Albacini, Stefan Kung, Reto Hollenstein, Martin Elminger and Gregory Rast are the other Swiss competitors in this year's Tour de Suisse. This race running since 1933. Swiss riders have been the most successful over the years. For many years now they've had this special competition for the Swiss riders. And for another day in the lead of the mountains competition, it's Team Aqua Blue Sports. Lasse Norman Hansen, Danish track specialist. So pretty handy up a hill from the breakaway. 2 days in the breakaway. Contributed a healthy haul of points. Hang on to that slender lead over Nick van der Leijke. After yesterday's stage success and the several days in the mountains classification lead for Lasse Norman Hansen, and indeed they've had a rider in the break every single day. Well, it has been a wonderful visit to Tour de Suisse, first visit for the Team Aqua Blue Sports squad. Still that single point advantage for Lasse Norman Hansen at the head of the mountains competition. Larry Warbass is well placed as well, and Lars Petter Nordhaug makes it 3 Aqua Blue riders in the top 4.